Hello, I'm Jessica. What we're going to do now is talk you through the Jupiter and Neptune transit of Pisces, the zodiac sign of the fishes, to see how it affects your solar chart, your sun sign chart, but also your birth chart or natal chart if you have that handy. I'm going to give you some dates to watch in 2022 about this opportunity and expansion and escape from the real world, which we all need after such a tough year in 2021. So 2022 begins almost in the last 48 hours of the year because Jupiter moves into Pisces, the zodiac sign of the fishes, for the first time in about 12 years. I'll give you the dates for the whole of the cycle, which runs alongside Neptune in Pisces. So there's this sense of getting away from it all, taking a vacation from the ordinary and the everyday right throughout our world. But for you personally, in your chart, there'll be one particular area of life that's uplifted and elevated. So we'll go into that in a moment. Okay, so between December 30th, 2021 and May the 10th, 2022, and then from October the 29th, 2022 until December the 20th that year, you will have Jupiter and Neptune both in the sign of Pisces. If you have anything in Pisces in your natal chart or birth chart, this is in your 12th house, which rules your inner world or inner life. So it's hypnosis, meditation, it's religion, it's spirituality, it's the tarot, it's mediumship, it's channeling, it's faith healing, it's all the invisible things that we don't know about. For some scientists, it's about quantum reality, quantum theory. That inner world in 2022, if you do have anything in Pisces in your chart, is just as important as the exterior world. So what is within is where you're going to be elevated, uplifted, and see the most breakthroughs. Okay, you'll experience Jupiter in conjunction with your Pisces factors at some point. For everybody, even if you don't know if you have Pisces natal chart factors or you just don't, we're going to see, nevertheless, something that really is quite extraordinary for the whole planet, the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, which takes place at 23 and 24 degrees of Pisces from April the 9th to the 17th. If you do have anything at 23 or 24 degrees in your chart of any zodiac sign at all, then you're going to experience these two timing devices picking up your horoscope in a way that's a landmark. The last time that we saw Jupiter and Neptune together like this in the same sign, Barack Obama came to power. So the impossible becomes possible. The escape from the real world for a lot of people becomes real. We go into a different level. We elevate, we uplift. Okay. Now, Aries, I'm going to look at you in terms of your 12th house in the solar and natal chart, because for you, it's going to happen in both your birth horoscope and also your sun sign horoscope. As you go out of Boxing Day, post-Boxing Day, into the new year, there is optimism that this actually is going to be a happy new year. And it's because of what's happening on the inside. Now, throughout the rest of the new year, 2022, you're going to be in a position to benefit from professional experience and enlightenment. So turn to somebody who can help you, whether it's a qualified hypnotherapist or whether it's somebody who is a trained psychic. It may be a psychologist or a psychiatrist. It may be your priest or a monk. Okay, it may be a self-help book or a guru that you discover through something like this, YouTube. But it's about changing on the inside and understanding that you don't have to live with whatever's been inside for such a long time. You can turn the corner. This cycle is famous for helping people to overcome phobias, for example. But it's also really about your soul, your psyche, and your spirit. I'm going to run through the 12 signs, so if your sign isn't mentioned up front, listen in for the people that you know, because what happens to them obviously affects you as well. Okay, so Taurus. This is a really important time for the friendships and the groups that you're involved with already. So it might be a club or a team or a political party, but it's also important for circles of friends, allies who cross over each other. It's about a community of friendship. So the reason for this is that in both charts I use for you, your solar and natal, I'm seeing patterns in your 11th house. And your 11th house is where you feed the community. It's also where you gain from friendship. So in 2022, you're going to discover that actually, if you pool your resources together, you can share everything together in a way that would have been impossible just by yourself or even with a partner. If you have been having any issues with a group or a community or a circle of friends where the boundaries have been fuzzy, That's pretty classic Neptune transit, but Jupiter is here to help. And you're going to see advantages from the group right through 2022, but particularly I think if you do have anything in Aquarius in your chart as well, because we're seeing Saturn transit the 11th house of your natal chart. So there's two stories told twice. Okay, so Gemini. You experience Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces in your house of success, ambition, position and mission, social elevation, the elite, the top rungs of society. And this is really something special for you because it hasn't happened like this for you for many years. In addition to that, in your Gemini chart, your solar chart, you also have Pluto going through the 10th house, same thing, ambition, position, mission, in your natal chart. If you're one of those Gemini people who do happen to have factors in Pisces and or Capricorn, then this may well be the year that you get your dream job, or you get promoted, you win an award, or you reach some other pinnacle of achievement. Perhaps you do extraordinarily well in your studies. But the opportunities are there just as the year closes and the new year begins. And I think January 2022 is going to be significant for you because that's when we see Pluto going through the sign of your horoscope in the sign of Capricorn in your natal chart. So there'll be reshuffles, there'll be mergers, demotions, promotions, departures, arrivals right through January 2022. You do stand to gain. Okay, so here we go into Cancer, another water sign like Pisces. So the transits in your 9th house are really about foreign people and foreign countries, and the gates open, the doors are open. And this is really interesting for you because it's showing up in both the charts I use for you. When we look at your 9th house in your Cancerian solar chart, we see other countries, other nationalities, other nations suddenly becoming the place where the fountain explodes and all things become possible. But when we look at your birth chart or your natal chart, we also find that something momentous happens around January 18th or 19th. At last, the lunar nodes, and you're ruled by the moon, change sign. So if you've been stuck for a really long time with the south node in Sagittarius in your birth chart or your natal chart, always sending you back to the past, always keeping you stuck, then around January 19th, there's this real sense of that was then and this is now. And that's actually, I think, the gateway to what's going to be an extraordinary year for you. April 2022, look off the map because that different culture, that accent, or that part of the world is calling you. And this can only really happen in this particular way once in your life. You might travel there, you might move there, or you might become more engaged with the culture or the nationality through the people. Leo, okay, so your 22 experience is really about finance. You have Jupiter and Neptune both going through the 8th house of your solar chart, and the 8th house is sex, death, and money. Or to put it more politely, it's the big ticket items that you leave to other people in your will, and it's also any legacy that names you. It is very much marriage and mortgage, okay, in sickness and in health until death do us part. This is the Scorpio-ruled area of the natural horoscope, so it is intense, okay? It is just a little bit edgy. At the same time, life wouldn't be life without it. The drama of life expressed through the house or the apartment, the finance, the business or the charity is being channeled through the family or the partnership or the potential partner or the former partner. It's on that level, it's intensely personal. And everything is possible here. You're going to possibly make a fortune or save one in this Jupiter-Neptune transit, Leo. And when we look at your natal chart, we find the same thing coming up. So we find that the 8th house of your birth chart is occupied by the lunar node cycle of karma. So I would say on the face of it, you're owed some good karma and it's coming your way in 2022. Virgo. Now, this is an interesting double whammy cycle. When we look at your solar chart, we find Jupiter and Neptune in the 7th house, which is your marriage, your business partnership. It may be your former partner and you need to make some breakthroughs there, and also potential partners if you're looking for somebody to be with. At the same time, in your birth chart or your natal chart, we find Pluto in your 5th house of children. So quite clearly, for a huge number of you watching this, this is about the son or the daughter plural, or having a child. And the news is that everything is possible. I'm going to say that phrase a lot in this. Everything is possible. What seemed to be beyond the pale or out of the question years ago now is there in front of you as a fait accompli. Now, this can be about a partner who's left your life for all sorts of reasons and the turning point that comes after that. It can also be about finding somebody new who perhaps has children from another marriage or wants to have a baby with you or wants to adopt. In an existing marriage where there are children, you're going to see Jupiter and Neptune lift you up where you belong. And I think it's going to happen quite quickly for you because we have Jupiter going into Pisces the final 2 days of 2021, just as December's over. And then as we go into January, we have this Pluto Capricorn weather, okay, in your birth chart, in the 5th house of parenthood and the next generation. That's indicative, I think, of empowerment that wasn't there before. So that's the Virgo outlook. Very interesting beginning to 2022, particularly for those of you who've just been through Christmas and all the big moments that come with Christmas. Okay, so Libra. This double transit of Jupiter and Neptune is in your 6th house of work and health and well-being. So you can expect, just as the old year begins with its new clothes on, if you like, as you go into January 2022, that you're going to see opportunities to live better, have a better lifestyle and a better workload as well, whether it's paid work, unpaid work, or whether you're studying. And this emphasis on what you do and how you do it and for whom you do it is also borne out in January, because in your birth chart, we have Pluto transiting your 10th house of ambition, position and mission. So you're going to see reshuffles in January that may be announced after Christmas that benefit you in some way. You're going to see people moving up, down, sideways and out within your sphere or within your actual workplace, perhaps within your chosen field, or if you are a volunteer in the non-profit sector. But the musical chairs game, for want of a better phrase, benefits you. And in fact, April next year looks like the moment for you in terms of not just working in a way that's fulfilling for you, but also feeling good, feeling healthy on every level. Okay. Scorpio, so this double Jupiter, Pisces, Neptune dance is occurring in your solar 5th house, and that rules babies, children, pregnancy, infants, school children, teenagers, young adults, other people's children, usually yours. It can rule a sexual relationship that may become more important because he or she has young relatives who may become yours, or there are stepchildren possibly in the mix, or a potential pregnancy. So it's all about the next generation when we look at your solar chart, and it's all about solutions and opportunities, which Jupiter is famous for. And it's also about escaping from the real world, which Neptune is famous for. When we look at your natal chart or your birth chart, there's a story going on here where you're concerned, certainly financially or with property, because in 2022, the nodes go backwards into Taurus and Scorpio, your own sign, and we find the south node of karma in your 8th house of sex, death and money. Classically, marriage and mortgage, until death do us part. Some of the signs are experiencing this cycle with you, actually, in a different way. This is very much about the property, the house or the apartment, and of course, questions about a younger generation come into that. So what you're going to find, I think, for you, looking at your chart in both systems, is some good karma. From about 18 or 19 years before, the transit of the South Node through Scorpio in your natal 8th house brings the past back in a way that benefits you in terms of the next generation, the children, the nieces and nephews, the grandchildren, and all the rest. Sagittarius, same, different, okay? A little bit similar. And if you're involved with a Scorpio or another Sagittarian, you'll know why. So what you're experiencing is about property. It's about the house or the apartment, or it's about hometown and homeland questions. And here, everything opens up for you because Jupiter is your ruling planet. So as soon as Jupiter changes signs at the end of December 2021, you're going to notice that all roads lead to Rome. Things suddenly look up for you and lift up for you. So it's not just about solving questions, it's also about believing in something bigger and better in terms of property. And when we look at your natal chart or your birth chart, we find that there's all sorts of things going on here in terms of what you own, earn, or owe, the other person and their interest in a house or apartment, their bank account, and so on. Because for the first time in about 19 years, the nodes are going into Scorpio and Taurus, which rules other people's money, joint finances. So you're going to gain, you're going to benefit. You may renovate, redecorate, or move. You may decide to pursue a different property angle if you're an investor. But a lot of this is about the lunar node cycle as well, and clearly you're owed some good karma, Sagittarius. Okay. Capricorn, couldn't be more different. Okay, normally we associate you with practical things like money and property and work, but this is actually about a course or a project involving the internet or the media that opens everything up for you in a way that was not possible for you before. It may be that you've tried before with the World Wide Web or the media or education or publishing, and yet you've never really got what you wanted from it. Well, that's all going to change for you as Jupiter and Neptune go into your solar third house of communication and information. This is really important because we have two quite long cycles in the same horoscope zone in your birth chart next year. We're going to see Mars retrograde in Gemini, and we're also going to see Ceres spend quite a long time in Gemini, the sign of the twins, which rules for you the computer. It rules cameras, it rules microphones, it rules learning if you need to learn a new skill. It rules the transfer of information and the exchange of knowledge. There's a couple more things about this cycle that are really quite quirky. One of them is that it involves a brother, sister, or cousin. Now, they may come through for you in relation to this project or course, or that may be a separate story, but it's extremely positive for you. And also, the key thing about the third house is it's about how you get around. It's about the short journeys that you take and going from A to B. So this may be about your electric car, it may be about your yacht, it may be about public transport where you live, but we're going to see all sorts of wheels turn for you backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards in 2022. All right. Aquarius, if you're involved with a Leo or another Aquarian, or a Sagittarian, then it's really all about property, okay, and what's possible there for you. But even if you're not, what we have here is a tremendous financial cycle with Jupiter in Pisces for the first time in 12 years, joining Neptune from just after Boxing Day. And you're going to experience it very, very quickly because in both chart systems that I use for you from January 2022 forwards, you also have the lunar nodes going through the money signs, Taurus and Scorpio. So it's quite clear that about 18 or 19 years ago, you set something in motion karmically that is now set to benefit you. It will be evident to you as soon as 2022 begins, but it may be April that's the real peak achievement for you, as you realise that saving or making money is now something that's about being at the right time in the right place. No matter what your financial history is, and you may be high or low or in between, what's happening next year is not just about saving or making a small fortune. It's also about recalibrating your life with your values, what you will and will not sell your soul for, and who or what you consider to be priceless. Okay, Pisces, lucky last. Genuinely lucky last, actually, because Jupiter is the lucky planet, and it's in Pisces for the first time in about 12 years. So this is about image. 2022 is relaunch, okay? It's about a new look, a different look, perhaps a new title or name, a new role maybe. It's all about cracking your own egg. If there have been issues about your reputation or your appearance, they will be cleared up while Jupiter goes through Pisces, because at a certain point, Jupiter will form a conjunction with your natal sun. In addition to this, in your birth chart, we have Jupiter moving into Aries, in your first house of self-promotion and relaunch and renaissance and rebirth, just about May next year. So you get two bites of the cherry, really. You have in your solar chart, in the Pisces chart, this tremendous opportunity to lose weight maybe, get cosmetic surgery, sort out your glasses, your teeth, attack your online profile, whatever you need to do. The professionals will be there to help you and you'll be in the right time and right place. But in your birth chart as well, your natal chart, we're going to see this extraordinary Jupiter and Chiron transit through the first house in the second half of next year and the first half of 2023. So it's almost like a continuing story over a couple of years. The new you, unpeeling all the layers and all that kind of thing. If you do have anything in Aries in your personal natal chart, then at some point in the second half of 22 or first half of 2023, Jupiter will conjunct that. It will open up the Aries side of your personality, Pisces, and you'll be back with a capital B. So that's a whistle-stop tour around the 12 signs and the Pisces weather to come. There is more to say, so please join me on Zoom if you've waitlisted for that, and I'll leave you in the hands of some of the world's best known and best respected astrologers.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Johnson of Seeing with Stars Astrology, and I'm here to talk about Pisces weather. Pisces, Jupiter in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces. And when I did esoteric astrology, I was taught that the evolution of the soul went through the zodiac from Aries through to Pisces, and that Pisces was the final gate, if you like, that we pass through on our spiritual journey. Therefore, it was very significant. Apparently, according to my studies, people like the Dalai Lama are born back on Earth, reincarnated and come back to Earth in Pisces, because at that point our souls choose to come back. So we have a choice when we're in the spirit world, if you want to call it that, where we decide, do we want to come back to help humanity or do we not? So many great masters apparently are born on March the 1st, which is the middle of Pisces weather. So as you can see already, Pisces is a very profound and beautiful sign. I love Pisces. I love people who are born in Pisces. They're very gentle, artistic. Pisces is a water sign. Of course, any sign when it's riled has its different elements, and water riled can be, well, the tsunami, if you like. So we want to respect all of the astrology signs, but in Pisces as well, we need to respect that. In esoteric astrology, Pluto rules Pisces, and Pluto is a very powerful planet. But I want to talk about Jupiter in Pisces, because Jupiter has been traveling through Saturn signs. So it's been through Capricorn and Aquarius, and as we know, within that cycle, it conjuncted with Saturn, so we had a great conjunction, and it's led to what a lot of astrologers, and Jessica Adams in particular, it's been one of the things that have led to the predictions of the pandemic and times of tumultuous change that we're all going through. We're going through historical times. Jupiter in Pisces, as it moves out of Saturn's signs, is giving us some hope. It's giving us some light at the end of the tunnel. As one astrologer wrote on the internet that I saw, Jupiter in Pisces is like a cosmic blessing. I mean, isn't that lovely? And don't we all need that at the moment? Now, Jupiter was in Pisces earlier this year through from May to July, but it went back into Aquarius, so back into its coupling with Saturn. And now it's moving forward on December the 28th, and it'll stay there till May, and then on October the 28th, and it'll stay there till December. So we have 2 short periods of Jupiter coming back into Pisces. Now, in traditional astrology, Jupiter is considered the ruler of Pisces. In modern astrology, it's Neptune, and these two are doing a merry dance this year, which I'll talk about in a little while. So Jupiter, yes, it's going to be relieved perhaps we're going to be relieved for Jupiter to move out of Capricorn and Aquarius. And we're going to be, I think, really blessed having Jupiter in Pisces for a while. It's going to give us an opportunity to see things from a different perspective, to look at the more spiritual side of life. Jupiter is called the Great Benefic. It is said to be the planet that rules or looks after or supports kings, queens. It's royal. It gives benefits. It gives, depending on where it is in your chart, it brings good luck. Of course, it expands. It expands everything, which can be good. I mean, do we want to have an expansive, say, appetite for chocolate? Maybe not. But so there are obviously too much of a good thing can be associated with Jupiter as well. We need to exercise restraint when Jupiter's in Pisces, with Jupiter strong in our chart. When Jupiter's in Pisces, there is little restraint, really. It's about exploring, it's about expanding, but mainly in our spiritual or artistic or imaginative pursuits. So it's not necessarily practical. We've all had to be very practical, very pragmatic. If we've been in lockdown, we've had to make some serious choices. Most, 90% here in Melbourne have chosen to be vaccinated, but then other people have chosen not to. Jupiter is hopefully going to give us an opportunity to kind of expand and see things from everybody's point of view. It may also give us hopefully some good news on a world front, on the mundane front. One caution I will have is that I have this, and this is very anecdotal, it's not based on any very strong research. I have noticed that when Jupiter is in Sagittarius, its own sign, or Pisces, that areas that are experiencing hot summers, they can often actually expand the fire season, so it can actually bring a lot of heat. So we just need to put a little caution on Jupiter in Pisces and that expansion of heat. But Jupiter in Pisces, as I said, is light at the end of tunnel, a cosmic blessing, and I think it's something, generally speaking, that we can look forward to. I see Jupiter in Pisces I see Jupiter in Sagittarius, which we've had in previous years, as the getting of wisdom. But I see Jupiter in Pisces as a time when we can really get spiritual wisdom, that we can expand our intuition, look towards things that are imaginative, have an expansion of good luck in areas that are our dreams, maybe even have more dreams, have an abundance of dreams, an abundance of talent, an abundance of creativity. Now, creativity can often be, literally getting out the paint and drawing or writing or painting. But creativity is really that spark of joy that comes from the soul. I mean, Mother Teresa, many of you who follow me have heard me say this before. Mother Teresa didn't kind of go, oh goodness, I have to look after the lepers, it gives me no joy. She had a sense of God calling her to do something. And I think Jupiter in Pisces is when we have an opportunity to look at, well, what is God's calling for us? One of the most spiritual people I ever met was a lady who sold Avon products back in the day. And people would come to her very small house, sit in her kitchen, have a cup of tea, and she just radiated this beautiful love and acceptance and compassion, and kind of solved or helped people solve their problems. And I think that's what we're called to do with Jupiter in Pisces. Is okay, we've come through lockdown, we've had to look at what we need to do in terms of looking after ourselves, looking after our loved ones, accepting limitations. Now Jupiter in Pisces is giving us that little bit of a glimpse of, well, what if there are no boundaries? What are we going to do now? What is our spiritual or higher calling? Jupiter in Pisces helps us look at what is our higher calling. Now, the other planet I want to just touch on briefly is Neptune, because Neptune has been in Pisces for some time. What's that movie? The movie that's called The Life of Pi, where he's out in the ocean, and it's just an amazing movie that's so the epitome really of Neptune in Pisces. The water, the ocean, the expansiveness, the not knowing, the mystery, the maybe feeling a bit disillusioned, the looking at things from an artistic, spiritual, alternative point of view, and the imagination. And Neptune in Pisces is very much about that. Now we have the planet Jupiter and the planet Neptune, so the traditional ruler of Pisces and the modern ruler of Pisces coming together in April 2022 to what we astrologers call conjunct, or form a conjunction. So they're coming right together, and this gives planets, when they come together like this, a combined potency. There's a lesson here for humanity. Now with astrology, we're looking at the effect of us, individuals, our individual birth charts, but we also look at the effect on planet Earth and the human beings as an organism, as we're all connected. We're all in the human race. And Jupiter and Neptune is going to remind us of this in some way, more so than ever. If ever we were going to have, say, aliens or people from, I don't know if it's the wrong word, isn't it? Beings from other entities, from other lands come and visit us, it would be under the influence of a Neptune Jupiter conjunction. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I'm trying to give you an idea of the expansiveness, the imagination, the possibilities that are available for us during this conjunction. So on April the 12th at 23 degrees Pisces, these two planets come together, forming this conjunction and influencing planet Earth in a way that is very expansive, benefic, good. It's good time. So we finally see, as I've said before, this kind of light. And it could literally be something that enlightens us, something that brings us closer to our version, if we believe in a God, so our version of God. Something that helps us have compassion and understanding. And Jupiter Neptune is a very, very inclusive conjunction. So we can be quite idealistic about how different lands, different people, people with different religions, people with different views could come together under the influence of these two planets. It could possibly run the other way, where there's a real expansion of disillusion and people not really seeing the wood for the trees. So we might see some disillusion there, but generally speaking, I think that this conjunction, this bringing together of the two planets, is just going to be a lovely inspirational time for us around April.